and welcome back to the Stu Simpson Show podcast. It's been a little while. We've had Christmas and New Year's and we've been very, very busy. But this entire season we're talking about the Camino de Santiago and the beautiful people I met along the way. And here's somebody I've not seen for a very long time. Hello, Tess. How are you?
Thank you. I'm really well. Thank you.
All the way from, where are you right now?
Southwest Sydney.
Wow.
Sweltering in the summer heat.
Yeah, but you're not from there originally, are you?
No, born in the UK and been here for 40 something years.
Yeah, and are you still loving Australia? You still loving Australia?
Very much so.
Excellent. Well, I'm sat here with a nice cup of coffee, and you, I've got snow outside, and you have a beer.
I do. It's beer o'clock here in the evening.
Excellent. Yes, we've had some issues with timing, have we not?
We have.
So let's crack on with the show. Why did you decide to do the Camino?
Well, it was something I'd thought about for a number of years, and then I went over in 2017 with two of my sisters, and I was still working then and didn't really have enough time to do it all, had to miss parts out, and it was great, but it wasn't quite what I was expecting for me personally, because I had to accommodate my sisters, and that had its own challenges. So I decided that when I retired, which I did it just at the start of COVID, that when I was able to, I'd go back and I would just do things in very selfishly in the way that I wanted to do them. And that's what I did. And as a result, I met absolutely amazing people, including yourself.
Oh.
And but I was able to just set my own agenda and stay where I wanted to stay and walk as far as I could walk, and I didn't have to take anybody else's feelings into consideration, which was very selfish, but really very, very good for me.
No, I don't think that's selfish at all. I think it's you're benefiting other people by doing what you need to do, and you can come back and be entirely yourself, and then you can be you for them. But you have to do you first. So it's not selfish. Well done.
You do. And I think in 2017 it became much more of a treading on eggshells and trying to keep things harmonious. Whereas this last time I had really time to indulge myself, and that was great.
Yeah, makes all the difference. And where did you start from?
Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. So I arrived in Paris on a Friday evening, and I flew on the Saturday morning, stayed overnight at the airport, flew down to Biarritz on the Saturday morning early, and then shuttle transferred to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. Got there at 20 to 12 and started walking at midday.
Wow. So started walking on the same day?
Well, I just figured if I was going to be jet lagged, I might as well be moving and just do a short day, which I did. It was about 8.5 kilometers.
Yeah.
But almost vertical, as you would recall. And I thought if I can just do that in that afternoon, then I've taken a bit of a chunk out of the next day, but also hopefully get some sleep and, tire my body out.
Yeah. And that was
that last part didn't really work, but
yeah, me neither. So did you stop in Orison? Was it?
Just past Orison, at a place called Border. It's a new village, about 700 meters past Orison. So it was lovely. It was in my top 5 places to stay out of the whole 6 weeks I was walking.
Oh, excellent! Because I did see somewhere else just past Orison. So what was so good about it?
What was good was Laurent, who owns the place. He bought it. It was an old farm. He bought it just prior to COVID. During COVID lockdown, he did all the renovation work and opened in, I think, it'd been open about a year when I went. And he did everything. he came out of hospitality, so he was the chef, he cleaned, he was the meet and greeter, looked after the bookings and the money, and it was just his whole enterprise. But he's also walked the Camino. And in the off season, this is what he's doing now. He's, I think, walking on the Norte.
Oh, wow.
Camino Norte. I don't know if he's going to walk the whole thing through the winter, but that's his thing. It's what motivates him. And he was just beautiful person. He got it set up. Oh, it was just like really nice accommodation, and food was great, and the company was great. And
incredible. So you've kept in touch with the Hospitalero?
Yeah, I did. He asked me, gave me a free beer and said if I'd do him a review. And I said, well, you don't have to give me a free beer for me to do a review. And I did on Facebook, but also there's Australian pilgrim groups here in Australia for the Camino. And I also sang his praises to them as well.
Excellent.
Just don't want the place to get too popular.
Because you're going back, aren't you?
I am going back in September this year.
I'm jealous.
I've booked that night already.
Yeah.
Same deal.
Brilliant. It's an odd thing because I kind of went to it myself, kind of going, I'm only going to do it once, and now I'm just going, I miss my Camino family, and I kind of miss my body aching. It's a really strange sensation. Yeah. It's a really odd thing. So, and I'm trying to walk at home, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. So, and you started in Saint-Jean, and where did you end?
I finished at Santiago de Compostela. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I allowed myself 6 weeks, and I ended up using the whole 6 weeks. I think towards the end I could have probably got there a bit sooner, but I'd arranged with my youngest son, who was in France, to come down and walk in with me on the last day. So he'd had to make flight bookings, and so we worked around that. Also I really just didn't want it to end. So I was quite happy to slow down in that last week and do shorter days, because I was already recognizing that I didn't actually want it to finish. And so it was mixed feelings when you finish. As you know, your body's saying, oh, you haven't got to get up and do this tomorrow, but your body's saying, oh,
I haven't got to go and do this tomorrow. So it's
it's really is quite a all the time I was walking, when I got to really hard parts, some of the really steep sections, which I'm not very good at, and I would say to myself, you don't have to do this ever again.
Yeah, it's
you
absolutely
don't have to, but you want to.
It's very, very odd. So that was a challenge. What was the most difficult thing about it for you?
I don't know. I think this time it was a real. There were lots of really good achievements. In 2017, there were things I wanted to succeed at that I didn't, and this time I succeeded at them. So there were some really positive things. I mean, I'm still really crap on hills, walking up hills. I can walk. I got to the stage where I was walking really quite quickly at the end on flats and down hills, but
yes, we couldn't keep up with you.
Yeah, good. You're very generous. But I remember one of our Camino friends, Reka, and she said to me when we were walking into Sarria, she said, you walk really quite quickly, don't you? I said, yeah, but just put a hill around that corner and it'll all change. It's just, I don't know, it's just me. But but that was okay, because they were challenges. But then as you achieved each challenge, it was just like, oh my God, that's just so good. That feeling of accomplishment was really, yeah. But it's hard. It's all hard. I mean, you just, I guess, roll with it. There were some days I think, oh my gosh, it's raining so hard, I wouldn't walk out my front door, even into the car on a day like this. And here I am, putting the poncho on, and off I'm going to go, walking, 20 odd kilometers in absolutely torrential rain, but you just get up and do it.
Absolutely. That sounds like Galicia.
Yes.
Towards the end, the urinal of Spain.
even before that, few days before Galicia, I think after Ponferrada, that's when the heavens opened for me. And
Yeah.
it was like I walked into one town, Trabadello, and I was staying the night there at another one of my top 5 albergues. And anyway, I walked into the village with Rowena.
Mm-hmm.
I just happened to catch up by chance again, and the rain just stopped as we walked into the village. The rain stopped and the sun tried to come out, and it had been absolutely torrential rain. I mean, everything was wet, inside of my shoes, everything. And I remember just looking up at the sky and shouting at the sky, "Now you come out!" You know, where were you a couple of years ago? And I'm shouting at the sun.
I had a very similar moment.
Really but it was just like, she thought it was hilarious.
No, I had a couple of those moments myself. There was one point I hadn't nearly broke one of my walking poles. I was so angry that I had smashed it against a lamppost.
Oh.
And I was just like, I've had enough of this rain. Make it stop.
Yeah. Like a shower, yes. Even if it's drizzling on and off all day, but it was like
it was torrential, wasn't it? It was just wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
And so the thing I mostly struggled with myself, because I have problems with sleep because of my attention deficit disorder stuff, was the albergues, because I'm so sensitive to noise, and like no matter how many masks or earplugs I put in, it would just. Did that bother you at all? The sleeping conditions?
A little bit, it's not just the snores. The snores can actually, and I probably do the same myself anyway. But you can just, if it's rhythmical, you can just see a music in it. But it's the snuffling and the bodily noises that come out of all the orifices, and it's just those inconsistent sounds that I think kept me awake more than anything. And I didn't like going to sleep with earphones in. I used to listen to my music to sort of get me ready to go to sleep, and I just have quiet time lying down with listening to some nice tunes. But I don't know. I just kind of got used to it, I suppose. Got used to perhaps having broken sleep and not enough sleep, and I try often to get somewhere in an afternoon where I could lie down and maybe have a doze, have a little Spanish siesta in the afternoon, in amongst people coming and going in the room. But that was a different kind of noise as well. But the last 100 kilometers, when it's particularly busy, when you get sort of the tourist pilgrims, which I shouldn't call them that because they're doing their own pilgrimage, but they do walk along, as you might recall, in great big groups, and they're very noisy.
Yes,
and they were very noisy in the one albergue I stayed in that last section. They were so noisy. It was like party central. And I just thought, no, I'm going to do own room from here on in, because I'd done all the hard yards with the albergues. And for me, it was being on my own. Staying in albergues was great. I tried to stay where they had a communal dinner, and I could get to know people that were staying there. So that all became, part of the community aspect of the Camino for me. But that last 100, I was over that then, because it was they were not considerate of other pilgrims in the same way as what I'd experienced before then.
Yeah, well, I think it must be very hard to relate to the people who've done the other 400 miles or whatever it is beforehand, and they're going, we're going for the biggest, longest walk of my life. I'm like, and everybody else who's already got to that point is like, shut up. We've just walked 400 miles. Just please just go away.
Well, I think on that first day from Sarria, which is the last 100, and where so many people join in, I think I was walking up a hill because, and as already said, I'm not terribly fast going up hills, but I know how to do it. It's best for me. And I stop and take small little breathers. And somebody came past and said, "Don't give up. You'll get there." And I thought, what? And he was there in his brand new shiny gear. And I thought, well, okay, I'm not going to tell you that I've already walked 700 kilometers. You've walked 3.
You don't understand the pain.
But then, ironically, later on that morning, I walked past him.
Yeah.
I felt like saying, "Don't give up. You'll
Yeah.
get there." But
You
I
should
didn't.
have.
I should have done in
So
hindsight.
what are some of your favorite memories?
Oh, the people. Well, I mean, all of it. The sunrises,
Hmm.
definitely the most amazing sunrises. I actually chose to get up early most mornings so that I could experience the sunrise, quiet, peaceful, beautiful colours, the clouds in amongst it. I've got some amazing photos. So that and the scenery overall is just spectacular, so diverse, from the Pyrenees Mountains to the plains of the Meseta to the hills of Galicia in the rain. But it was all just wonderful. But the other big part is the people I met along
Yeah.
the way. Just the most wonderful people. And it was just, yeah, that's a big draw card to go back. It'll be a different group of people, but that's okay too. I mean, I liked walking by myself, but I really liked to be amongst other pilgrims when I rested and at the end of the day. And that was really a good thing for me.
Yeah. I met some of the best people that I've ever met in my entire life. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why I got on so well with Germans and Australians. It was like out of everybody in the world, it was very odd.
I know. Yeah, well, you had a lot to do more so with Germans than I did. I mean, Andre was probably the main German I met, but then there were some lovely Americans that I met, Irishmen, and then the professor, Pedro.
Oh yes, Professor Pedro.
Who I heard
James.
from at Christmas.
Oh, good.
He sent a Christmas greeting, which was lovely. Lots of Brits, many Europeans. It was just, and the kindness and sense of community of those people. An example is, I don't know if you can recall, I'm sure you can, because I probably told everybody that I knew. I got badly bitten by bed bugs in Sarria. One bed I stayed in for weeks, and I got, that was my husband walking through.
Hi.
And they came up all down my arms and across my face. I had swollen eyes. It was just terrible. And the next day I didn't realize how, I thought it was mosquitoes. And the next day it wasn't too bad. But then when I had a shower at the end of the day, I realized just how bad they were. And the following day, and I had a terrible night's sleep. They were itching and it was just bad. But the next day I met Rowena by chance, and she gave me some antihistamines. And then I met this French lady, Anna, who I'd seen once before, and she just emptied her pack out and gave me just about everything medicinal she had, including, alcohol wipes. And I mean, people just did this for people that they didn't really know. I mean, I didn't know her name, Anna, until that moment, and I never saw her again. It was just...
it's an odd thing. They do say the Camino provides.
They do, but without asking. I mean, I wasn't asking. I was... he's measuring out the last of the wine over there, my husband.
Very nice.
He's just checking that they're equal.
Excellent.
So now we've got some Rioja.
But the husband provides as well. Hello.
He does. This is what retirement does for us. I got to finish my beer.
So they said the Camino provides, but they also say it gives you what you need, not exactly what you want.
Yeah, and that's what exactly. It's what I needed, and it was just like, you're shaking your head afterwards, thinking, these people. And then, ironically, the next day I was walking past somebody, and she was sitting there, a young girl, and she had her boot off, and she was looking at her feet, and she had things out of her pack. So I was able to stop and ask her if there's anything I could do to help her, because I've now got all these compees left that I didn't need, and things like that. And anyway, so I was able to share back. So it's like that pay it forward sort of thing. But I mean, I didn't do it consciously. It was just happened to be that somebody I could help along the way was there. And that was really nice. It was nice to feel that I could give something back to somebody after people have been so kind to me. So it was great.
There's also there's moments. We stayed in was it a nunnery or it's a churchy type place.
In Sahagun.
Yeah, and
I'm going back there.
That was amazing. That was incredible. So we got something. Because my journey for me was spiritual, and I wanted to go and do the thing to help heal some stuff from the past. But that was one moment which I thought was very healing, and you were very giving in that moment of what you were there for when we got together with a priest and everybody talked about why they were there, and that was a wonderful moment.
It was very profound. I think he was particularly moved because these groups they run every day, but I don't think people open it up. And he was quite astounded by how our group, who some of us did know each other, but we didn't all know each other, and everybody just shared very quickly without any prompting. And I think it took him aback quite a lot.
I think that you can get into a sort of a rhythm of an energy, for want of a better word, and you meet people who are on a similar sort of level, which kind of, and you go, okay, I can trust you to open. There's only two people in that room. Well, one woman in that room and she came in late. And I was like, you don't get what we're doing. I'm here to feed the animals. No, it's like, no, you're not. Sorry, but you're not.
But her daughter got it. Her daughter,
she did.
Actually was able. I met them a few times, and she shared a whole lot of stuff that I'd not heard from her before. So she was obviously felt immediately empowered to talk about her reasons for being there. But that was it was one of those moments. I felt very awkward for her.
I did as well. I did as well.
Later on, she realised that actually we were in quite a deep space at that time, and
So was it a religious journey for you, a spiritual journey?
Yeah, very much so. That and I suppose differentiating between religious and spiritual. But I suppose you're looking for those moments, and Sahagun, that place, was definitely one of those. Just the whole ambience of the place, from the arrival and the meet and greet, and the way that Brother Daniel, welcomed us, to that sharing moment over a cup of coffee, and then going to the Mass. It was just the whole experience there was it was very gentle, but it was very moving. And then there was a light-hearted moment because I could do my laundry there, and he would come. He brought the laundry stuff down. You gave him the money. You didn't put it into the machine. And he walked down to the laundry with a bottle of detergent in one hand and fabric softener in the other. And he looked like he was packing guns or something, the way he was walking with these two bottles. And when he offered me the fabric softener, I thought I was going to cry, because I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have beautiful smelling clothes.
Excellent.
After 5 or 6 days of not really washing or just hand washing things. And so, it was just those whole moments of that it was just a gentleness there that was just, I hadn't, it was different to anywhere else I'd stayed. There were some other really good places I stayed at, but that was one of the special ones, definitely. I'm going back there again.
Excellent.
However, even if I only had to walk 10 kilometers that day, I should be staying there.
Well, give them my love.
I will.
Did you go to the Camino with religious beliefs before then?
Yeah, very much so. When I went in 2017, it was June, and the week before I flew out, I had become a Catholic. So I was born Church of England, and my family here, my husband and children, are all Catholic. I got married in a Catholic church. It wasn't something I was necessarily planning on doing at that stage. I thought a beach would be nice, but anyway, that's what we ended up doing. And then all through our married life, I took the children for their sacraments, and because Mark, his working hours didn't really allow for that well, and listened to the priest telling me all about mortal sin if you come up and take Holy Communion in a Catholic church and you're not Catholic, and if my children were to go and take Holy Communion in a non-Catholic church in the UK, then that was a mortal sin. So I had to listen and endure all this stuff. So it coloured my feelings about things. But then I went to work later on in my career at a Catholic girls' school, and it was quite what would I say? They were people there that definitely were Catholics, but they were very liberal Catholics. They embraced everybody. Many on the staff weren't Catholic, many in the student population weren't Catholic. But that didn't matter. All were welcome. And I remember one of the sisters that was attached to the school saying when they had a mass, and I said, oh, it's a shame I can't go up and take communion. She said, of course you can. Of course you can. And she said, if you're hungry to participate, then you should be there. So it was a very eye-opening way. And I mean, I suppose, some might say I was indoctrinated over the years, but it definitely felt that it could be part of my life. And I hadn't really found anywhere that I wanted to go to church here, even though I was very churched when I was raised in England. So eventually I came to the decision that I would become Catholic so I could participate in religious experiences here. And so I did it. It was on just the week before I flew out in 2017. So that's 5 years. 6 years ago this year. Yeah.
And then, coming to that point, I saw you in Santiago straight after in the church, in the cathedral. Sorry, and you saw that I was upset because I couldn't take mass, because of my stance as an out homosexual man within the Catholic Church, and that's what. Yeah, and then but I met Father James, who's Church of Ireland, and he was basically the other side of things. He was kind of like, look, if you come to my church and you don't take communion, I will be offended. And I was like, yeah, that's a bit for me, if I want to bring people into believing in something, and something which I was brought up with, and all the feelings around that. That's for me was the way to do it. Other than saying,
there are some very liberal Catholics, I think, who do not follow the papal doctrines, and I think Rome has a long way to go. Women priests are going to be. I mean, my sister is a Church of England priest.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but James, who you're referring to, our Irish friend, he was raised as a Catholic and then became Church of Ireland. So he's done things the opposite way to me.
Wow, excellent.
And so it just means that the door's always open for you to embrace whatever feels right for you at the time, I think. But when I go to the UK, I take communion.
Yeah.
I don't listen to what past priests have told me, that it's mortal sin, because I don't believe that. It's what's in your heart is what should happen, not what somebody is decreed.
Absolutely.
That's just my thoughts.
And one last question, because I haven't got much longer left on this. So did the Camino change you at all?
Oh, always, yeah. I think, well, it certainly gave me a lot more confidence in me as a person, not just physically, but I mean, I've never been a shrinking violet, but I think the confidence to be able to get up each morning and know that I was going to get where I was going to get by the end of the day. And I don't just mean physically, but also spiritually, emotionally. Oh my goodness. I mean, I was just an emotional basket case a lot of the time. I would just dissolve into tears at the slightest thing. But it wasn't tears of grief or pain. They were actually very emotional, good tears. So there've been a few things going on with my UK family over the past 3 or 4 years, and some of whom are not talking to me and probably never will again. And so that was something I needed to have time to work through and accept that that's just how it's going to be, and not keep trying to build bridges where they're not going to be welcome. So
that was the one word I got from the entire Camino was acceptance. The one word that always kept coming back to me again and again and again. So,
and I don't know what this year will bring. It'll be a different experience again. I'm going to try to stay, apart from my favorite places, I'm going to try and stay in as many different new places as I can. I mean, not just albergues, but towns, to broaden and make it just as rich an experience. So
excellent. Well, I hope you have as much fun this time as you did last time.
Oh, I don't know. I think that's a bit of a risk.
Yeah,
because it was just so good.
It was astonishing.
From the day I met you, when you walked along that path, and I can remember it was after Quinta Lorena going to Manuru, and we were walking along this pathway, and there's this person up ahead, I think you must have been, but you were slowing down and you were twirling your poles like batons, and you were singing out loud. And I just thought, oh my goodness, this person is just so happy with everything. And I thought that's a really good space to be in. And then you turned around and I saw your Mo and I thought, I'm not going to forget this person. And then we just kept crossing paths constantly after that. And it was just great.
And you became part of the family.
We did. Yeah, I did. Yeah. I think Debbie couldn't quite understand that I really did like walking by myself most of the time. I just felt that not because I wasn't being sociable, but because I just needed to walk to my beat, if you like.
Absolutely.
And but I really liked being with everybody at the end of the day.
Oh, me too. And so those thoughts, that's why I really got on so well with Andrea, and the fact that we didn't even really need to talk about that, but I think we had a very early conversation where I was just like, sometimes I might need to walk on my own. He's like, me too. And I'm like, cool, right, cool, that's it. And we kind of just got that with each other. But it's been wonderful catching up, and thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, my pleasure. I look forward to
it'll be up very soon.
Oh, will it? Okay.
So, but I've got to go and do Patrick now.
Okay.
But for anybody listening at home, they're going to find this weird because his is going to be on first. So, because he's got an album coming out, so I need to try and help about the Camino on the 21st of January.
Right.
So, it's been wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure.
And buen Camino.
Take care. Yes, and buen Camino to you.
Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.